Hello everyone, my name is Miller and welcome to the next 2 stops on the American road trip. Today we are stopping at Tulsa for the Tulsa Flash 300 and in Oklahoma for the Oklahoma 300 Showdown, which has the first non-American car as a potential lock-in. What a shocker. I will be discussing both events and explaining to why for newer players it might be better to opt out of this event. But I think what is more important here today is the question, what is next and does this event matter for the rest of the series? And also, in what time frame we might expect those events to happen anytime soon, and you will not like the answer. But first, let's talk about the event of today, and to start off I'll be going over the Tulsa 300 Flash event, which is a semi-duality and Flash event mixed up, and the first of its kind. When you enter the event, the first thing you can see is that it has 2 lock-ins, making it clear that it's a duality cup. But what makes it more interesting is that this might as well be the fastest event we will ever see in the game, as both cars that you have to lock in are in the top 5 fastest car of the game. There is a total of 40 races to complete, with the total rewards to collect of 1.8 million cash, 800 gold coins, 600 bronze, 125 silver and 15 gold keys, 7 uncommon, 11 rare and 4 epic fusion parts, 2 stage 6 parts, 1 for each, and 10 yellow elite tokens. Overall very decent rewards and not much to complain about. As for crates, both lock-ins have a crate and they have also added a crate for the Chiron 300 Plus from the Showdown, which is good, but the crates are all paid for, which means that for the Chiron loyalty, since it was only added today, you will not be able to achieve loyalty for free and you will be forced to pay for 1 crate. I also wish that if you chose to go for the Gold Star F5, you would have the bronze crates rather than the paid crates, but we cannot change this. For the Tuatara, it was kind of expected. I will now cover both lock-ins, starting from the usually fully fused stage 5 perspective, and show the stage 6 race, the tune and the hardest race for both. Keep in mind, having the SSC Tuatara fully fused as a starting player is no easy feat, but later more on that. Before I start, again a big thank you to Reddit user WKPQ for making an overview of each race time. For the first lock-in you will have to choose between both versions of the SSC Tuatara, which are identical in performance. I chose the orange one as it's the newer version, but to be fair, it doesn't even matter. In case you don't have the car, you will have to buy it with real cash on its own or either through a bundle which includes the F5 for $25 US, which to be honest is quite a good deal relatively to buying a car on its own, which might often cost $21. Now it's 12 each, basically making it slightly more interesting. But there is one big flaw with the second fastest non-elite car in the game. Its stage 5 performance is absolutely broken. On stage 5 it has 668 pp, which is the equivalent of a tier 5 on stage 4. This has been broken since the car came out and they never even fixed it. This causes the third fastest overall car to be rather slow on stage 5 with a 10.5. Compare that to other cars which are around 9 seconds on stage 5 or even up to 7.8 if we compare it to the F5. Having such a low PP means that every stage 6 part has a significant advantage, which means that the stage 6 part that you will win on race 26 will help you make a big jump. To get this stage 6 part you will have to have the car on stage 5 for sure with a decent amount of fusion parts, and you'll have to run faster than 11.980. For the hardest race, which came early on race 32, I had to install one stage 6 part. And I chose the one which is mostly the least powerful, being the intake, to prove that one stage 6 part will be enough. This was enough to make a jump of 3/10, allowing me to beat the hardest race, tune and pattern. The second lock-in is for the Hennessy Venom F5 concept, and you can either use the Gold Star version or the Purple Star. And if you don't have the Gold Star yet from the last Trinity event, there seems to still be a gold crate with a loyalty guaranteeing you the red F5, however there is no drop rate, so I think this is a glitch, because something is definitely broken. If you have no gold keys, again this car can be bought with that bundle I mentioned earlier, which is a pretty solid deal. As I tried to see this from a cheapskate perspective, I chose to use the red Gold Star version, and I noticed that on stage 5 it is about half a second quicker than the paid Purple Star, making it a good choice overall. The stage 6 race came rather late on race 36, where you have to beat a time of an 8.697, which might sound challenging, but keep in mind on stage 5 fully fused, this car can run a 7.8, so you should be able to get your hands on that stage 6 spot without too much of a challenge. The hardest race came on race 39, only 3 races later, and good news, no stage 6 parts are needed as the F5 is just such a beast. If you were to use the yellow version, I expect one stage 6 part will be the minimum, but for the red version, you can just go along without even installing the stage 6 part you won a couple of races ago. Tune and hardest race. The final race is a relay race, and here you might need to add a second stage 6 part to either of the cars, or some retuning as it was slightly spicier, but it depends on the combination of the opponents. I've seen times go as slow as a 12.2 to as fast as an 11.6. The question that rises here after all this is of course, is it worth it to buy the SSC if you don't have it? And well, no, not to be honest. This event has no real importance for the rest of the series, and having the SSC will give you no advantage down the line. And with having a new event every other week, I think it is better to save up your resources, like cash to upgrade cars. Also keep in mind this is only 7 days long, and getting it fully fused on stage 5 takes way more than 7 crates, meaning you will have to buy additional crates, which is not so convenient. But don't get me wrong, I did enjoy this event, since some people who paid for the cars in the past get to use them and take them from under the dust. Something I want to touch upon here is that the SSC is the first fully paid lock-in of the entire series we've had. Up until now, at this point, you could have participated completely for free, like I did, and that will be the case until the end normally if the information I have checks out. I see so many messages of money hunger and greed, while if you look back at it, the events up until now have all been free to play to some extent if you had the resources saved up and the cars built over time. Of course, saying this from a veteran perspective might sound a lot easier, but compared to an event like Bugatti or Pagani in the past, I prefer this because then a lock-in had no other choice than to be a paid car like a paywall, which is not the case here. And skipping this event has literally zero impact down the line, which is to me a quite positive feat. The other event to talk about shortly is the Oklahoma 300 Showdown, to where I made a mistake yesterday thinking it would reward the Dutch boy's Camaro. I have been corrected and it was never intended to have any milestone or leaderboard prize car. This showdown has to be one of my favorites to date for the simple reason of the competitiveness with very alike performing cars. The options here are the Hennessy Venom F5 concepts, both the Gold Star and the Purple Star, the SCC Tuataras and the Chiron 300 Plus Super Sport. Just to put it into perspective, the fastest car being the Purple Star F5 runs a 6.929 and the slowest is the Chiron Super Sport 300 Plus, which runs a 6.938, making it super close and fun to race with. And the red F5 can even run a 6.936, putting itself in the middle of it. If only the rewards were worth it, because I'm still super confused to why they think I would race 500 races to get 50 gold coins. The leaderboard prizes are kind of nice with a pretty solid Legends assist for higher tier cars if you finish high up, but I need green elite tokens, not blue, and I think many are in the same boat. Now onto what is coming up next, and thanks to the files, we already know what to expect in the upcoming 3 to 4 stops, which I all expect to drop in the 2.15 update. Since I have received confirmation from Natural Motion, we are going into the final month of the series. So that means another 4 weeks back to back to back, so be clever with your resources. If we follow the map, we end up on the first parts of the west coast, being Phoenix. Here we will have our first ever Tier 4 Evo Cup, to where we will have to pull the Ford GT 2005 edition from the gold crates to get your hands on the special 2005 Ford GT Heritage Edition. and it's important you win this car for down the line. After Phoenix we go to LA, which will host not just one, but two events, the LA Battle of the Builders and the LA Showdown. The LA Battle of the Builders will be the same type of event like the Detroit Motor City event and the Philadelphia Cup, a 5 lock-in series with free and paid options. The first lock-in is pretty simple, again any of the Made in America Elite custom cars, but one you haven't used yet before. The second lock-in will contain any of the Hennessy's of the Indianapolis Trinity Cup, which is pretty sweet as you most likely already have one of the 3. The third lock-in will be for the Ford Dirty 30, a hot rod which came to the game as the first pullable Golden Cup / Flash event style way back in time. I expect this to either be again with a 20 times drop rate, or who knows, buying it with gold coins if we can dream. The fourth lock-in will be more controversial, and this is where I want to warn you guys and I want you to make sure you're listening. Here you have a paid and a free option. The paid option is for the SAG-003S, which was one of the first ever Flash event cars, so it will come back as a paid option. Think about the Javelin. Or, the second option is the free one, being the 2005 Ford GT Heritage Edition, which is the reward from the Phoenix Evo Cup. But be wary here. To avoid issues like on the Detroit event, expect this lock-in to come with paid crates, and make sure you have some Stage 6 parts from the free crates from the Phoenix Evo Cup that situates before the LA Battle of the Builders. Because I'm already getting those Charger SRT Hellcat 50th Anniversary Edition flashbacks already. The final lock-in is then between the Dutch Boys Camaros, which can be obtained either through buying one of the two I presume, or through the LA Showdown, which will have a milestone and a leaderboard price version. The reward of the event, the super sick Dodge Challenger Havoc, a 2500 brake horsepower monster of a machine, which you will need to use in the finale down the line most likely. After LA we go to San Jose, which will have another Duality Cup, but one which should be more accessible to everyone as the two lock-ins are the Corvette C8 and the Shelby Super Snake. Two elite custom cars, so I expect loads of tokens to be up for grabs here. The next stop then is I think our last one, being the San Francisco finale and the Los Derivas Showdown. We don't know the full details yet on the San Francisco finale, but I expect that you will have to use the Ring Brothers Valkyria here, the Havoc, and perhaps even the Twisted Mistress or the Dutch Boys Camaros. But you will definitely have to use some cars you either won or used along the way as well. There is one car I can say with 99% certainty that it will be a lock-in, and that is the Corvette C8R, which will come in two versions, labeled as Milestone and Leaderboard Prize, meaning those are both cars which are up for grabs in the Los Derivas Showdown. What we do know for sure, however, is that the reward price of the finale will be the NASCAR Camaro ZL1 1LE. Yes, a NASCAR stock car is coming to the game, which is super sweet. In 2.14 this car is still hidden on the covers, in 2.15 it should be uncovered, and I think it should also be fixed in terms of performance. 2.15 should be coming out anytime soon, and I expect it to be out by the end of the season. So next week we'll start the Phoenix Evo Cup, and the week after already the LA Battle of the Builders. So there is a lot to look forward to, and I'm honestly a bit frightened by this as well. For many people, stocks and resources are low, and this cascade of events is not helping it but making it worse every single time. An event like today is not mandatory to complete to get the NASCAR car, so if you were new, I advise to just skip it and not worry about it, as it will be too expensive on crates as well. Save your in-game cash to use on that Ford GT 2005 coming up next week, because that Heritage Edition is super important. Unless you need those exactly 15 gold keys, and you really want to spend the money, then go for it. And with that I have covered it all. If you enjoyed the video, please do not hesitate to leave a like, subscribe for more content like this. Thank you all for watching, my name is Mille, see you around, and keep racing.